As the thumbnail says, this is not a self-improvement video. If you want inspiration on how to get up earlier in the morning or take up a new hobby that you have been putting off, you are in the wrong place. However, if you want to learn some alternative, more professional ways to tell your team, your colleagues, or your managers that you cannot do something or don't have the time to do something, then this video is for you. Hi, my name is Catherine. I'm a business English teacher and I work with intermediate to advanced level students. I post videos 2 to 3 times a week. And whilst this video isn't motivating you to wake up at 3 a.m. every morning and fit in a 4-hour workout before you start your day of work, I am a relatively positive person and I 100% support you if that's what you want to do. Life gets busy, work gets stressful, and sometimes you need to turn down projects and invitations in order to give yourself more time and space. I believe a psychologist would call this setting boundaries, knowing when to say no and when to not take on more than you can handle. Hopefully, the next 10 phrases will give you some idea on professional things you can say to turn down extra work, extra responsibilities in a polite but respectable manner. Our first one today is quite simple. I'm sorry, but that won't be possible. Now, you can use this when you are asked to do something that is maybe expecting too much of you or not realistic. So let's say, for example, someone asks me to create 10 English language courses by Friday. I can say, I'm sorry, but that won't be possible. I can, however, create 1 English language course by Friday. Or let's say you're asked to stay 2 hours after your shift, your expected work time, the period of time you are expected to work, but you have to pick up your children, or you have a gym session, or you just have a really hectic lifestyle and you cannot stay an extra 2 hours. You can say, I'm sorry, but that won't be possible. I need to do this. I need to do this. Now, saying you're sorry you can't do it is perfectly fine, but sometimes you may feel like you need to offer an alternative. So I'm sorry, but that won't be possible. However, I can do some extra work on this project tonight. Or I'm sorry, but that won't be possible. However, on Thursday, I have some extra time and I can stay later then. No is perfectly fine. If you can't do something, you can't do something. But if you do want to add that extra, I'm not trying to be difficult, I just can't do it today, you can offer an alternative solution. Unfortunately, I am unable to accommodate that request. To accommodate that request is just a fancier way of saying to fulfill, to do that request. So this is going to be more likely used with customers. Maybe a customer asks you to do something that is above your pay grade or out of your responsibility, or you do not have authority to do. Unfortunately, I'm unable to accommodate that request. But if you want to contact this email address, or you want to speak to my manager, or you come back in on Thursday when the store manager will be in, they will be able to help you. This is putting the emphasis on the fact that you are not the right person for this task. It's not that you can't or don't want to, it's that you're not the right person. You're not the appropriate person to be speaking to about this. I regretfully cannot fulfill your request at this time. To be regretful, of course, means you're sorry. You wish you could. You wish you could help. But unfortunately, regretfully, you cannot. And the adding of at this time demonstrates that this time period is not appropriate for this request. It doesn't mean it can or cannot be done. It just means at this time, I am unable to do it. Let's say, for example, you have a really busy day, you have meetings all day, non-stop meetings. Someone asks you to contact a client and check in with them. You know you do not have that time today. So you could say, regretfully, I cannot fulfill that request at this time. I am really busy today. If it can wait till tomorrow, I will do it tomorrow. If not, find someone else for today. So at this period of time, at this moment, I can't do it because, and your reason. I'm afraid I have other priorities that need my attention. Now, if you just said this phrase, I'm afraid I have other priorities that need my attention, and don't explain or don't go into detail or don't offer a solution. That could be seen as quite direct and almost rude. What you're asking me to do is not a priority for me. But let's say it's a manager asking you to do something. It's a priority for them. So you need to follow this one up with some sort of reason or solution. I'm afraid I have other priorities that need my attention, but in 3 hours' time, I will be available to do XYZ. Can you help review this report for me? I'm afraid I have other priorities that need my attention, but I know that Simon is free and he often helps review my reports. Maybe check with him. I apologize, but I'm not able to help with that. I apologize, but I am not available to help with that. Now, again, similarly to some of the others, it isn't saying you can't do it or you don't have the ability to, but it's focusing on the fact that you are not free right now. You are busy right now. So you can offer an alternative solution, but I know my colleague is free, or I know someone will be able to help you with that. Let me contact them. Or even give a time frame. I'm not available to help with that right now, but in 5 hours' time, I will be finished with all of my meetings. If you can wait until then, I'd be happy to help. I'm sorry, but that's beyond my scope of responsibilities. Like the priority example I gave you, if you just say this sentence, it could seem quite direct, quite rude. I'm sorry, that's beyond my scope of responsibilities. It almost suggests you're not willing to do more than your job. I will do my job and that's it. I'm not doing anything else outside of my job description. However, if you continue the sentence and offer a solution, it sounds better. That's beyond the scope of my responsibilities, but I can refer you to my manager. But I can refer you to my colleague. But I know someone whose responsibility is this task, this thing that you want, so let me contact them for you. Regrettably, I cannot assist with this matter. Now, by saying regrettably, you are regretting the fact, similarly to regretfully, you're regretting the fact that you can't help. You wish you could help, but you can't. This one is quite nice to use if maybe you have a personal reason why you can't do something. Maybe it's your day off and your boss has contacted you or sent a message to you. I cannot assist with that matter. It's quite a nice one to use when you don't want to give a reason. Maybe your child is sick, maybe you are sick. Maybe you're upset about something and don't have the energy to go and join a meeting. So by saying I cannot assist with that matter, it's protecting yourself from having to give more information. But again, it looks very good if you can offer a solution or an alternative. I cannot assist with that matter, but I know that Claire said that she would be able to help you out today. Send a message to her. I cannot assist with that matter, but I will be in tomorrow and we can discuss it if it can wait until tomorrow. Unfortunately, that is not something I am able to do. This is going to be used more with customers because you would never tell your manager if they were requesting something from you that you can't do it or you are unable to do it, because their response would be, well, why? Why can't you do it? Haven't you had the training? Don't you have the experience? We've hired you because of your skills, so why are you unable to do this thing I'm asking you for? But with a customer, let's say a very angry, upset customer comes into store, comes into your restaurant, your hotel, and wants a 100% refund on whatever it is they bought. That is not something I am able to do, but I will contact the store manager or I will contact the team leader and they can assist you further. You're putting the emphasis on the fact that you do not have the authority to do that thing for that customer, but somebody else does. This one is very similar to the last one I just gave you, but it's a much more formal way of saying it. So you might use this in an email or when talking to a manager or boss. I'm sorry, but I am not in a position to meet that request. Again, followed with a solution, but I will forward your email on to my colleague. But I will discuss with the team lead what we can do to help you. So I am not in a position, I do not have authority to do what you're asking me to do. Maybe you're asking me for the keys to the front of the store, the front of the restaurant, the front of the hotel. Maybe you're asking me for the details of a customer and I don't have the authority or the right to give you that information. So I am not in a position to meet that request, but what can you do instead? And the final one, I included this because I like the wording of this, but honestly, it's quite uncommon that you would see this or use this. Unfortunately, I am unable to oblige. Now, oblige is a fantastic word to use. It means someone is legally or morally meant to do something, supposed to do something. So I am not obliged to make YouTube videos, but if a student pays for a lesson, I am legally obliged to attend that lesson. I have to, because they have paid me for that time. And I would be stealing from them if I didn't attend the lesson. So to oblige or to be obliged is like you really have to do something because there is a legal or a moral issue if you do not. So whilst you could say this if you were talking about your business's policies, maybe someone has asked for information that you are not obliged to give. You are not authorized to give. Legally, you cannot give that information. You may say, unfortunately, I am unable to oblige. According to our policies, we cannot give out this information. It's used in much more formal, legal situations. So in your daily English, it probably won't be used. But you may come across a situation where legally or morally you have to or can't do something. It's very important in the work environment that you recognize when you can't take on more work. We all want to be so helpful and irreplaceable in the workplace. But we also need to rest. We need to rest our minds, we need to rest our bodies, and we need to have time to ourselves to relax and be ready for the next day. So using some of these phrases to say you can't do something is a much more professional way of explaining that you don't have the time right now, or you are unable to right now, or it is not something that you are authorized to do. So it's entirely up to you how you go forward and use these sentences. I hope there was something helpful there. From the age of about 16 to about 21, I worked in a number of different restaurants and shops. And when you're in a customer-facing role, you are constantly having to apologize for things that are not your fault. Maybe you weren't even working the day that customer had an issue or a problem, but because you are the one they are speaking to, you are the one they are angry with. So having some of these phrases ready was perfect for me, because I could demonstrate to the customer that's not actually my responsibility, or I don't have the authority to do what you're asking me to do. But if you wait a minute, I will go and find someone that can. Let me know in the comments if any of these are going to be useful to you in your job, in your position. Maybe you have a boss that is always asking you to do extra things and you just need a way to tell them, I have no more time. Please stop asking me. Don't forget to like the video if you have not already, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.